Yes, you can develop it with DevelApp. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the 173rd episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today, we have a couple of fine guests for you. You may recognize or remember Jennifer Murphy from episode 133. She was Miss Oregon and then a contestant on The Apprentice with Donald Trump. She has some great marketing that she's doing over at her YouTube channel, and you can find all that at thesaleswhisperer.com/session 133 for links to everything she is up to. But she has partnered with Michael in a new business called DevelApp. And I wanted to have them on because if Michael pulls off what I think he will, it is going to be quite exciting, and you will want to get ahead of the curve on this. I've actually signed up as a partner with them because this looks very exciting. You know, mobile has taken over the world, obviously. But now mobile searches, the sheer number of mobile searches has surpassed that of desktops. A lot of people I'm talking to for 2016, what they're predicting is that things will shift to being mobile as the priority. You know, in the past, you've built a website and your online resources for the desktop, and then you'd make sure they're mobile responsive or make sure they looked okay on mobile. Everything I'm hearing now is that you start with mobile and work backwards. And many people are predicting that the mobile applications are the key. They are the future for success moving forward. And what Michael has in plan, what he has in store here, is going to make it much easier, much more affordable for people to create mobile apps for their businesses. So that's why I wanted to have him on. He's also just a great entrepreneur, so you'll hear his story in just a little bit. And as I mentioned on yesterday's episode, I've got two new resources for you. Please check out makeeverysale.com. I am totally redoing it for the second time in 3 years. But this time it's going to be on a different platform. I'm going to be talking about that later on in future episodes. But there will be gamification, badges, quizzes. But in the meantime, you can hop on now before I raise the price, because as I add more modules and bring out this new technology, I'm going to keep raising the price. So head on over to makeeverysale.com and lock in your savings. The cool thing there is you get lifetime access. So once you enroll, regardless of how many more modules I add to it, you're going to have access. So I'm basically taking my 30-day sales growth program and enhancing it tremendously. So makeeverysale.com. And now on with the show. Michael Slosar, all the way from Dallas, joining with the infamous Jennifer Murphy here in SoCal. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How are you both?
Doing well.
Doing great. Great to talk to you, Wes.
You know, I've only had multiple people on a few times. Once was last week. It was a husband and wife, but they were in the same room, so they could kind of smack each other if they said something wrong. So with y'all being in different cities and states, you're going to have to mind yourselves, all right, or like text over Skype to make sure, you say the right things. But no pressure.
I'll be on my best behavior.
All right. Well, Jennifer, thanks for putting this together. We'll bring your story up in just a minute. But Michael's the founder of, what are you calling this? DevelApp, right? DevelAppBuilders.com?
Yeah, I call it DevelApp. And our website is DevelAppBuilders.com.
Very nice. So for our listeners that may not know who you are, familiar with your story, would you mind giving us a little thumbnail sketch how you came to be on the Sales Podcast, and we'll dive down the rabbit hole?
Okay. Well, basically, I've been a career entrepreneur, and I've been out there in technology for, long time, since mid-90s. And of recently, the technology of creating a mobile app kind of hit really close to me in the last business venture that I was in, and how difficult it is to go down that road, both knowledge-wise and time-wise and financially. So we decided to come up with a concept that would be a much better approach to that, and to be able to allow anybody, whether it be an entrepreneur, small business, medium business, or just, someone who wants to do something for their, mommy group or their craft group or whatever it is, to be able to have the ease to build an app on their own and publish that app to all of the stores and have, most importantly, someone like our company, DevelApp, be there to support them along the way to help them through every little potential roadblock that they might have. So we started developing the product pretty much December of last year, and we're coming up on our big launch here in January. And that led me to broaden my relationships with marketing, which led me to the wonderful Jennifer Murphy. And that's through her skill sets that's landed me here, able to talk about what we are providing and who we're servicing.
Well, now you can die happy and fulfilled, right, Jennifer? This will just complete Michael's life.
Yes. Now that I made Michael happy, I'm golden.
That's right.
So, Jennifer, you were on the Sales Podcast not too long ago. Would you refresh our listeners on your history and what you're doing exactly with Michael?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've been an entrepreneur all my life as well and love sales and marketing, really love creating videos and marketing to bring awareness to different products and services that'll help people. And so this is the perfect fit for me. I mean, I'm really the blessed one right now that I was able to connect with Michael. After being on The Apprentice with Donald Trump, I got fired. And everyone gets fired on the show, but I went out with a bang. So some people might remember me as one of the 4 that got fired all at the same time. But it was actually a really fun show, great experience. And I was able to work with some incredible top-level companies while I was filming that show. And I think experiences like that have helped me prepare for this experience, for this opportunity where I'm teaming up with Michael and wanting entrepreneurs all over to know that they can build their own app and this is how they can do it. And it's really fun for me because Michael has seen my YouTube videos. I'm a YouTube personality. You can see me on YouTube, Jennifer Murphy Go Girl, or YouTubeBlonde.com. So those are some of the things I've done in the past. And I'm second to the oldest of 12 kids. So I have a lot of my own personal from and life experiences that I love to put into everything I'm doing. And so that's where I am right now, working with Michael and want to, in creative, fun ways, in smart ways, doing a lot of PR, really get the word out there. So that's where we are right now. And I really appreciate you having me back. When I told Michael I had been on with you before, I told him, hey, Wes is a lot of fun, and I think, we need to team up again. So thanks so much for having me back.
Hey, my pleasure. So are you trying to become the YouTube of making apps?
Well, I think I would kind of be more towards, we want to be more the GoDaddy of apps or the WordPress of apps. Okay. We want to be able to have a scalable enough platform of which we have built that really allows us to service that very first, the first gleam of your eye that you want to have an app. We want to be able to service that client, make it easy for them, all the way up to allowing them as they hit, roadblocks and hurdles as their business grows, that they don't have to ever worry about, oh, great, now I got to go through this app thing again. We can actually step in and they can keep bolting blocks and modules onto this app to be able to further the ability of it as they go, all from a cost-effective monthly pay-as-you-go subscription model.
So when you say apps, I mean, you're talking iPhone, Android, iPad apps for any size business?
Really, probably the only size requirement is going to be, we're not really set up to deal with the enterprise level of companies. This is more of a entrepreneur, small to medium sized product.
Okay.
And yes, you're correct. They will be able to deploy those apps in Windows, the Windows Store, the Google Play Store, and the iOS Store.
So why does somebody need an app? I mean, I've got a ton of them, but, it's like Instagram, it's Twitter, it's Facebook. And I've downloaded apps from others, but I don't use them as much as I probably should. Mm-hmm. Are you going to help with that, And I don't know, I got a lot of questions for you, so I don't know, start there.
Well, that's actually really simple. That's probably one of the most common questions I get. And that's really because, the way I view it is everybody who's in business who communicates with a customer or a client needs an app. And the reason why they need an app is probably not because they probably don't really know why. That's what our job is, to educate them, is the fact that when you have an app that your customer or your client downloads and installs on their phone, you are literally in their pocket. I mean, you're there all the time. And one of the things that is happening in today's marketing, and I know Jennifer can talk to this as well, is the fact that people want to find out information when they want to. And they get into this on-demand environment. And so when you have an app as a company, you have the ability to not only keep your content updated, but you have, with that glorious word called push notification, you have the ability to always be, submitting something to your client. Whereas traditionally, someone would go out there and they would build a website. That website's relying upon me as the consumer to go back to it or remember to go back to it. Apps are just changing that. They're changing the whole playing field in that. And so being able to continually interact with your clients not only helps you service them better, but it also gets them talking to other people that aren't your clients about that service that you provide. And so long term, the shift that I know I see from where I'm sitting is that with people spending more time on their phones and their tablets than any other devices, that's where you need to be visible to sustain your revenue growth and even increase your revenue growth as a company.
So you're going to help them build it. Are you going to give ideas to help them maintain it and update it? Because I know, being in the sales and marketing world and consulting with small businesses, they really struggle with content. Mm-hmm. And so there's one thing to have an app, right? But man, what are they going to push out to them? Well, okay, so it's here. Now what?
Yeah, so that's we put that into great thought when we built basically the platform, as well as the different subscription package levels that someone can subscribe to. So first, what I'll describe is the process to actually build an app and to build push notifications, schedule push notifications. We have several different customizable layouts that people can start with. We've built this platform to really help somebody who goes, okay, I took that step, I logged in, I don't have a creative bone in my body, so how am I going to build something that looks good? So we kind of have that covered so that they can easily grab things that are appealing to them and then quickly, repopulate the areas with their own type of content, as well as move those areas around or add additional areas to a page. And so that's kind of the way the platform's set up. Now, from a subscription perspective, we have 3 different categories of a subscriber. We have a subscriber that's pretty much just your do-it-yourselfer, and they would pay $59 a month to have access to the platform. For $99 a month, we end up communicating directly with them and helping them suck the information out of them to be able to populate and build the app for them. And then for a larger fee, which these packages, the first packages are our entrepreneur package, and then the second one I just talked about was our business. And then our executive package is $3.99 a month, and that's where we actually manage the app for the client. So those clients that just don't have a lot of time, or if they just don't want to mess with it, they can say something as simple as, hey, I want to push out a notification about these T-shirts that I have on sale. and then our team picks that up, creates something, sends it to them for a proof. When they say yes, then we say, when do you want it to go out? And we basically monitor it for them. So it's really just kind of depending on where the person fits. We wanted to have something to make sure that everybody was successful.
Right. Now, you say any business that has any contact with anybody needs an app, but I mean, are there some, like you mentioned, T-shirts, are there some like that, like retail or things that benefit more than others? Because, like, I know me at least, I turn off almost all notifications on everything, even emails. Like, I'm going to check this when I want to check it, but I know I'm probably not the norm in that regard.
Yeah, well, if you turn everything off, then really, we can't really help you.
Yeah.
I think something to take note of is when you go to the store or the coffee shop, look around. 90% of the people are looking down at their phone. So I think you are an exception, Wes, because you have so much on your schedule, but there's so many people where they are looking at their phone every other minute, and it's what they're doing. And I know I have certain apps on my phone that I don't use, but then I have the ones that I use because they're for a reason. I have my favorite juice place right down the street. And, I always, when I go in there, I open the app and then I scan it to get my reward so that after I buy 10, I get the 10th for free, and they send me coupons, and I love that app. And I know that it keeps me going back to them as a loyal customer, and so it just, I guess it just depends on finding the right features that you're going to have on your app and making it useful for people so that they'll want it. So,
yeah, I do notice, like, there's a Starbucks right by the LA Fitness I go to, and so every day when I drive to the gym and leave the gym, and it's like it's not even a notification in the traditional sense. It, like, the little icon pops up in the bottom left of my iPhone that says basically, "Hey, you're near a Starbucks." So is that the type of ability that your clients will be able to have?
Yes, they will have a couple different types of push notification settings. So, you're going to have your traditional push notifications like everyone's grown accustomed to, where, they look at their phone and the icon's got a 1 or a 2 or a 4 or whatever, little bubble above it, all the way to the push notification that kind of comes in the back system screen. It doesn't, the less intrusive ones. So depending on your phone, like, personally, like on my Galaxy, I get all kinds of notifications, but they don't really bother me unless I actually physically swipe down from the top of the phone and go, "Oh wow, look at all these notifications that came in." So we're basically every aspect of how you can push content as forms of notification to a phone. We have taken that into consideration in building this platform so that as people, some people like to feel extremely important and have their phone buzzing every 2 seconds and levitating off the table. So, if that's them, then, we can make that happen. But, for other people, it's kind of, hey, I only kind of want it when I want it, but when I want it, I want to go, oh, hey, look, they already thought about me, and there's all these little specials. Hey, I'm going to go over and buy that,
So, I'm going to link to all this as well, and I'm interested in being a founder. You're going live here coming up in January. But walk me through your story. How did you even end up here? I mean, are you an investor? Are you the CEO? I mean, what's your role with the company, and how did they find you or you find them?
Well, I'll do the short story and save everyone all the drama. But I am the founder, owner, and CEO of the company. Basically, I was through multiple technology ventures that I was in various capacities, whether I was just a contributor on advisory level or whether I was a chief operating officer. I've built a wealth of technology connections, and late last year, one of the companies I was working with went through some very difficult times because of some mismanagement, and it was stuff that I did not want to be involved with. So I resigned at that point and decided that my energy could be, put to better use really where my passion was, which was, empowering entrepreneurs and helping people not make the mistakes that the company I was in at that time was starting to make. So, so really what got me to where I am now is I took relationships that I had through various channels, and I started talking to people, and I started telling them, look, we won't be first to market. There's all kinds of platforms out there right now that allow you to kind of limp through an app. But the one thing about technology is it's not always being first to market. It's about taking the product and making it easier than everyone else's so that people can actually use it. And so that's really what we did. And so I went back to some funding partners and got them on board to fund the company. And from there, brought in development teams that I had strong relationships with, and really just spent really a couple of months putting all the right people in place that work well together. And that's also, at this point in time, when we started working with Jennifer several months ago, that was just one more of those contacts that, you kind of feel like I've taken an idea of mine and a passion of mine, and I've been able to assemble kind of like this dream team of people to work behind it, and they all share the same passion and drive. And so it to my knowledge, that's going to definitely prepare everybody for a really nice experience with everything that we're offering.
So maybe I missed this. Did you start this from scratch? Was it already in existence and you took over?
No, this was absolutely scratch. This was
wow.
This was all just again. This was an idea that I had, and it just compounded as more people started saying, "I'm in." We one thing that I do very, very well, I've learned over my tenure of being an entrepreneur, is you bring people in to do certain tasks. Let them do those tasks. Let them be creative. Let them put their spin on things. It's not always about, hey, I'm the founder. It's mine. It's my everything, because it just doesn't work that way. And so, I was able to do that in a large fashion. And each person, whether it was the original chief architect for the actual back-end design, when I brought in the creative director, Blake Hanna, which is actually now my vice president as well, he brought in all of his ideas, and it's just turned into this massive, really success of a product. So, but it was done exactly from scratch.
So how do you know how to move forward? I mean, there's a lot of people listening that are thinking about doing a business. Maybe they did a business and it failed, so they're scared to do another one. How do you know when it's right? How do you know when to go all in? And do you go all in? Do you raise money? Do you get loans? Do you bring in partners? How did you know how to structure this thing?
Well, I mean, honestly, it was a lot of experience and failures in the past. One of the things that I would have to say I have done differently this go around is a lot of times in the past, you would put together kind of like your wish list of what you need, and it's really hard as an entrepreneur to really understand what you need and what you want. And so I kind of really, because I had spoken to the specific funding partner, he was very successful at generating many businesses based upon core principles of, one, what do you absolutely need? You don't need a big fancy office while you're developing a product. You don't need lavish, salaries. You need to work and you need to perform something. So that's what I mean by what you need. Second,
I don't know, man. I need a Bentley. I need mani-pedis.
Well,
are you saying that's wrong? Is that holding me back?
I'm saying it's wrong until you've. That's called arriving before you arrive.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Yeah. So. Realistically, I mean, the next thing is which I've always kind of cut the corner in the past, is your financials, your bookkeeping. It's one of those things that as an entrepreneur, you're always you're always like, well, I don't really need to worry about that. And let me tell you, whether you're making money or you're losing money, if it's documented the right way and you've got an accountant doing it for you, it helps because it provides validity to what you're doing, and you're not banks like to see that. You've got to then look at the fact of what type of money do you need to do what you want, and that's where I've learned that you just have to break it out. If you're trying to prove that you have a viable product, you need to go get money to be able to just build that viable product. And don't go for the fences out there trying to say, I need to go get $10 million because I got a marketing campaign, I got, salespeople I got to hire. That's so far down the road, and it's going to change so many times between inception and when you actually get there. So really, to go all in, I mean, I think any real entrepreneur is going to go all in. It's just in our blood. There's no half-in entrepreneur as far as I'm concerned. You have a passion to do something, and you're going to do it. So you just have to make sure that you bite off small pieces and, make those pieces perform, whether it be a positive thing of, hey, this actually made me some money, or, hey, I lost $500,000 developing this, but because we developed it, now we actually have a better strategy of how we're going to sell it.
So how did you, you've been developing now you're going on 13 months from the day you started to the day you launch. Mm-hmm. Where do you get the money, and how do you decide how to structure that?
Well, what I did was, I went out to a friend of mine that I had worked with in the past that is a wealthy individual. And we really, to be honest, what we did is we started an LLC just to keep everything separate. And we funded it on a monthly fund. So we did not go out and say, hey, we need this much money. And for the first couple of months, we were funding just to keep our doors open, very skeleton crew.
Now, was he funding it just as an individual?
Yes, he was funding it as an individual. So this would be very much like going out and finding like an angel investor.
Yeah, sure.
So he was being the private financing. And so we got a couple of months into it and fleshed out really what all the moving pieces were going to be. I had to do a lot of fleshing out as to, where's our market? How are we going to sell it? And then in about, I guess it's probably about May, we had everything put together as to a budget to build the platform and to be able to have it, available and ready for the public to use. And the other thing that I would caution people on just from past experiences is if you're ever developing tech, find developers that will actually give you not to exceed quotes. Oh. So that's one little trick out there because developers can not, I love them. They're very intelligent and talented people. I always joke with them. I can't dumb my brain down enough they can't dumb their brain down enough to get to my level. They're so intelligent. And, but you can also, because of that, you can also be in a never ending development cycle.
Right.
And, so being able to cap your liability by a not to exceed budget for your project just kind of helps keep everything, all the checks and balances in line.
And did you hire U.S.-based developers or overseas?
U.S. Everything we're doing is U.S.-based at this point. I did have to say I did look at potentially doing some support outside of the country once we launch, but that kind of got put on the back burner at this point. I want to try and keep everything, in the United States.
And did you hire local developers, or so you could put your hands around their throats, or you just made sure they were just U.S. based?
Well, they were people that I've done work with in the past, so I already knew how they worked. But yes, to answer your question, they are close enough that that if I need to get in the car and go, slap some people around, I can do that. No pun intended.
Very nice. So was it tough getting that not to exceed quote? I mean, I can imagine you get some pushback on that.
It wasn't that difficult. The reason, I guess here's the other thing, that what helps you get a not to exceed quote in anything is being able to run with some expense, some burn, to fully map out through what I call like a control document of what exactly you're building. It's like you don't build your house until you get your plans. So go ahead and spend money with a developer. Their hourly rate, it's really expensive. If they're really good, they're expensive. And that's the part where you just have to stay on top of them and build your set of plans. Once they have the plans, a developer is not going to have a problem saying, okay, it's going to cost us this much to do it. If they don't know how much it's going to cost and they can't commit to it, then they're probably trying to build it on the fly and learn. And that's where you kind of want to run, because you don't want to pay to educate. You want to pay for a product.
Yeah, that's a good point. So would you recommend then maybe paying like a retainer or a discovery fee sort of assessment up front just to be able to lock in that not to exceed price?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend on your negotiation skills and how comfortable the development team is with you. So if you're new to the game, expect to pay a retainer. But what I always do is every 2 weeks is when people get paid. And so when you're doing a project, you have milestones. And so they achieve the milestones, then they can draw from the retainer and you can replenish it. If they don't, then they don't get a retainer replenished until they actually get to that point. If you have a relationship with them or you have a business track record, then you can accomplish what I did, which was I do everything on a net 15. So there was no retainer. They physically work, produce a milestone, and they get paid.
Very nice. I like that. So Jennifer, what are you doing? Are you sales and marketing? Are you PR? How are you going to help them grow?
I am the celebrity spokesperson and PR manager for the company. I have a team that is working with me to do all of the social media, all of the press releases and writing articles, submitting them to press outlets and media, lining up interviews for myself and Michael to do like this. Hopefully we'll be able to get on some TV shows and news and into magazines. And so doing all of that. And then I have a video production partner, Patrick, who is very talented. And so he's working with me on producing all of the video for the company. So any of the fun marketing commercials, video for social media or for YouTube. I'm partnered with Entrepreneur Network now, and so we'll have an ongoing series and do marketing with them. And then doing all of the video work for the website as that rolls out more. So we want to make it really easy for people when they go to the site to have tutorials all the way through for any feature they're looking at or any step they need to take. So that's something that we'll be working on, starting next month. Right now, we've been doing a lot of the stuff, just getting the foundation laid and getting the style of the marketing in place. Blake Hanna, when he initially started, as Michael said, did such a great job with the look of the logo, and I helped come up with a clever line, "Make it happen" with app in happen, that Michael decided to make the slogan. So, it's really fun to put all of these initial pieces in place. And then I've done some photo shoots and already putting together kind of a fun comic strip looking ad campaign. And we're going to be doing this really fun ninja series coming up. So you guys will want to make sure you like DevelApp builders on Facebook. We'll be launching the series on there and on DevelApp's YouTube channel as well as on my own. So we've got a guy that looks just like Mr. Chow from The Hangover, acts just like him too, and Michael. I'll give you guys just a quick little preview, but Michael has decided to give me the honor to flip the switch, to spin the servers, to activate the system that'll help empower entrepreneurs to make it happen. And, well, one thing leads to another, and it becomes this duel with me and this ninja trying to take the switch away from me. And so I filmed last night. We started early in the day, and then it went late into the evening because these shoots take time. But that's something where, I'll run things by Michael and Blake and, and sometimes I'll have great feedback or ideas to throw in, but they're really letting us run with it and have fun with it. And I think that's going to be a successful way of doing it. So Michael's leadership style, it makes you want to work that much harder, and it really does give you the ability to focus on what you're good at and give it 100%. And I think that my job, I'm set up for success with this. And then also, as an entrepreneur, that I've built my own websites quite a few times, and I love being able to do something myself. And, there have been times I wanted a website, and maybe I didn't have $5-10 grand in the bank, and I started just building my own site back when Wix was really new. Now millions and millions of business owners have built their own websites. This is what Michael's helping people do for apps. And I've had different projects that I've really wanted an app for in the past. And now I'm going to be able to build my own apps. And so that'll be something fun that I'll be able to tie in with the marketing. As we put some of my own apps in place, it'll be a good example to people of how they can do it themselves.
So what's more important, having a great product or great marketing?
I think it's a little bit of both. You got to have a great product that people actually need and that people want to have. You've got to have great marketing to keep it at the forefront of everybody's mind, so that they actually follow through with spending the time to actually utilize the product.
So when do you start marketing a product? This one's brand new. Nobody knows about it yet. Is it 30 days out? Is it 90 days out? You get some early beta users, on day 1, day 10?
I think from my perspective, for what we're doing, I think that it just depends on what exactly your deliverable is going to be. If your deliverable is going to have a lengthy beta program, then you could be in a beta mode with the product, typically 5-6 months before you actually launch the actual retail product. If you aren't going to have a lengthy beta, if you have kind of a very good controlled beta in-house and you just want to, the first time the public gets to see it, they can buy it, then from my experience and from people that I've spoken to, we started at about 90 days out, really kind of understanding what exactly we wanted to do and how we wanted to market, and that's if you have, if you have a good team in front of you, then you can move fast. If you think that your teams are not going, as a CEO, if you think your teams are not going to, it's going to take a little bit of time for them to date and kind of work well with one another, then you might want to add another 30 to 45 days on the front side of that.
Right. Do you foresee shifting to using overseas developers?
Absolutely not. We will never develop anything from a code base offshore.
And why is that?
Mainly, I don't want to have to travel over there all the time.
Right.
When you're developing, you need to have, a lean and mean development staff. Supporting, revisions and stuff like that is not as critical. But if you are developing a product, the less developers, the better. And you need to be able to be in front of them. You need to be able to monitor it. the old saying, with the controversial Obamacare website, they spent over $1 billion on that website. My team of 7 developers could have built it in a quarter of the time and would have been done for less than $1 million. It's
now
just,
you tell me.
So, and that's just the way it is. I mean, people are scared of development because it is, you either know how to develop or you don't. And, if you're like me, throw a string of code up in front of me and I'll look at the code and I won't even know what it means. So you want to keep that really close to you, and you want to keep a lot of control because people can, they get into their coding, they got their techno earbuds in, just blasting out, getting into beast mode, and they start programming down a different path than where you need them to go. It's hard to police that if you've got to either A, talk to them when it's nighttime here, or B, get on a plane and fly out of the country.
Right. So, but what about from a cost perspective? I mean, is it, because I know, overseas guys are a lot less expensive, but it doesn't necessarily make them cheaper, right?
I've always said, you get what you pay for. And, it's cheaper. Yes, it's going to be cheaper, but not when you factor in your time. You got to value your time as a CEO, and just because the check that you're writing is cheaper doesn't mean that it's cheaper.
Right. You get your old time value of money and
right.
the dialogue. I know a lot of times entrepreneurs don't really know what they want, so they get frustrated, blame it on the developers. But the developers, how much of a role, how much of their responsibility is creating what you want versus helping you figure out what you want, being a coder versus a consultant coder.
Yeah, it really is. You've got programmers are very good at programming, and they'll program anything, and they're not, they're not looking at any job that they program and as a CEO would, as far as, what's next, how does this go from A to Z. You give them a problem and you say, this is what I need you to solve and this is what I need you to program, and they'll make it happen. They're not creative people. That's why you, as a CEO, you've got to have your creative side, you've got to have your development side, you've got to have your market side, because you're not going to find one person that can really balance between those types of specializations. It does get really quickly. It gets into a, I like to call them, anytime you're doing a development project, you get into what's called creeping features,
right?
To where one thing leads to another, and you're like, oh wow, now we can change it, move it over here, and that's what. If you go in it without some sort of a building plan or like a control document, you start swaying, and then the lines get blurred as to what you're expecting the developer to do and what the developer is quoting you. And that's how most of those end badly, because somebody's either underpaid or someone's, got something delivered that wasn't what they really wanted. So it's a very tight balance. And therefore, that's why, again, I would say, keep your development team very small and keep them close so that you don't get language barrier. You're going to have a big enough language barrier between you and your developer just for the terminology that they're going to use, not to mention if you were out of the country having a different language barrier.
Yeah, but man, I want minions. You're taking all the fun out of it. I can't have minions. I can't have a Bentley and no mani-pedis. So I don't know. I shouldn't develop code, I don't think.
Yeah, talk to me in March. It might be a different thing. It might be things like mani and pedis and Lamborghinis and, that kind of thing.
Nice. Well, you already have this superstar spokesperson that looks very good in camouflage onesies. But I'll make our listeners Google that. We'll look you up. Very cool. So how will you know
if this is a success? How do you know you've done this right?
Well, really, it's going to be in the numbers. It's going to be in the revenue of the company, the sales. It's going to be however our product is evaluated by not only the users of our audience but other media outlets, and most importantly, how we respond to it. So, I'll say it's a success when I can see, obviously good revenue. Great customer support, and us actually being able to see how it is affecting other businesses, and try and stay one step ahead of our customers so that they're not getting let down. And that's, when I can see that all kind of come together at that point, then I think we've done a really good success, and it will be a product that will probably, continue on, version after version after version.
Right. Very cool. Well, any parting words of wisdom for our listeners? Picture these, somebody on a treadmill, they're sitting at the airport, maybe on a plane. They can't download anything yet. What would you have them do?
Well,
if they're launching a business, if they're in sales, trying to make their number?
Probably the biggest thing is I would say that, at least from my perspective, starting in January, an app is affordable for everybody. It just, stop thinking that it's unachievable and stop thinking that it's only for somebody who's got thousands and thousands of dollars to put at it. It's definitely, it's available, and it will help you strengthen the relationship between your current customers and your future customers.
Right. All right. Very nice. Michael, Jennifer, thanks for coming on.
I say one last thing as well? I just want to make sure everyone goes to our website, DevelAppBuilders.com, and signs up for our Founders Club. Okay. And I know we're getting you set up, Wes, with a promo code. So if they put in Wes, WES, your first name, they will get a discount or extra perks, and they'll always be a part of this Founders Club. So you're not tied to anything, but it's just securing your space. Michael, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, real quickly, I'll just say that, we've launched what we're calling the Founders Club, and there's 1,500 slots, and when they're filled, they're filled. And what that in essence allows, for is that anybody who wants to build an app, they can sign up now, and they really kind of become a much larger piece to the overall puzzle for us at DevelApp, because you always get discounts on your subscription price. You always get to try all of our modules and features that we are continually adding to this platform without having to pay for them. You get granted time on them so you can see if they really work for you. You get to help us develop more features that maybe are near and dear to your heart, and we invite you, I guess, to give us as critical of feedback as you want to give us. So it's really kind of it's going to be a fun club to be involved in, with perks and benefits that really never end. So yes, definitely go to our website at DevelAppBuilders.com. You'll find a tab on there for Founders Club. Sign up, put the promo code in WES, and when we get to January to launch, you'll be getting your special invitation instructions on how to get your account coded for all the cool discounts.
Sounds good. And yeah, there'll be links to all this, and so this will be thesaleswhisper.com/session173, and you can get the all the links to this episode that they just mentioned. All right, Jennifer, may we end it now, or do you have yet another bonus?
Now you may.
Your wish is my command.
No, just thanks so much for having us on, and just want to wish everyone happy holidays, and that's it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the Sales Podcast. It's been great.
All right. Thank you, Wes.
Thanks. Bye.
So stay tuned to DevelApp and what these guys are working on. So I am releasing this podcast and publishing it on Tuesday, December 29th, 2015. They plan on going live very soon in January 2016. So, like I said, watch what they're doing, but pay attention to the mobile application space in general. That is certainly going to be hot in 2016. It's going to be hot forevermore with the priority that mobile has taken in everyone's lives. So be sure to go back and look at the show notes and the links to everything I discussed. You can get at thesaleswhisperer.com/session 173. You can get all the notes. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, head on over to makeeverysale.com. Lock in the lowest price ever right now to help you sell Mo better. As I enhance this and add the quizzes and the badges and the gamification and more content, the price will continue to go up, but you can lock in your one-time price right now. Thanks for listening. As always, remember to sell different.